Welcome everyone to the Portland Retro Gaming Expo 2023. Alongside my pal, Ian Ferguson. I'm Pat Contri. Oh, wow. I should have known that was coming. I should have retired last year. I should have retired before my 15th year on YouTube this year. 15 years and 10 years of the CE podcast. Because while we're here today, we're going to do a podcast. We got 45 minutes of fun, 43 minutes. We'll be talking about some fun things, what we've been up to, a review of a certain independent game that was going to be an exclusive for a certain game console that's never going to come out. That's right. And an update on the Wada Games federal class action lawsuit. Yeah! We love a little law. People are, yeah, law, judges. Subpoenas and depositions.
Document production.
So Ian, what's been going on in your world?
I decided to take up bird watching last week.
Yeah, that's right. Are you hanging out with Frank doing that?
No. So I decided that I like birds.
Everyone likes birds. No one's like, I hate birds.
No. I did not like them for a long time.
Of course you did.
I didn't. I thought they were useless.
Useless?
Dumb and useless. They got in the way.
They kill all the mosquitoes and bugs and stuff, keep the ecosystem.
But by going to the San Diego Zoo, which has great aviaries, I've learned to enjoy them, particularly the asshole birds. The louder the bird is, the more annoying the bird is, the more I like it.
Yeah! Ow! Is that one of the bird calls?
Amazon Prime Day, Amazon's evil, but I found a pair of binoculars for $17.
Meaning two noculars.
Two of them. And so now I have binoculars and I look at the birds. And I don't intend on ever learning their names.
Oh, you gotta hang out with Frank then.
I don't ever want to learn the birds' names. I just want to say hey in the morning, go over to the slough, take a peek.
Sure.
Be a bird creeper.
I'm sure there's apps that can help you identify them if you want. Or get some field guides. I have an extra, probably one or two. Frank has 50 of them. I think you should learn a little bit.
Maybe I should. Maybe I will. I do have a book on watching pigeons.
A book on watching pigeons.
An entire book on pigeons.
I feel like that should be a pamphlet. Okay. What have you been up to? What have I been doing? I've been finishing up a certain N64 guidebook. It's over a year overdue, but it's coming out. And so some page samples here. A full page for each game.
I said paint samples.
All 400 games, both the North American, European, and the Japanese exclusives, including the disc drive games, huh? Full reviews. There's a 64 Ozuma 2, that's the Sumo Wrestling game series. Banjo-Kazooie, you got the cartridge variants on there. I don't think you can see some of this before here. So yeah, this is going to be for pre-order very soon this fall.
Look how nice.
At ultimatenintendo.com, and then I'll do a Kickstarter. There's a Carmageddon 64, and yes, I reviewed Carmageddon 64 and played through it all several hours it took to finish that game.
Pat's favorite game.
We're living the PC, Cruising USA, Donkey Kong 64, the variants there, with the nice color cards. So yeah, it's been a labor. I don't want to say of love, but it's been a labor.
I feel like I've been his therapist through it.
Oh, it's been fun. Virtual Pro Wrestling got 4.5 stars by Dale Coulis. Dale reviewed all the pro wrestling games for the 64.
Is that Virtual Pro Wrestling 2?
So the first one got 4.5, 2 got 5, I believe.
It should. Virtual Pro Wrestling 2 is like one of the finest wrestling games out there.
So there you go. So that's going to come out soon. You all excited about this? Yeah. I'm sorry, that's the Chrome variant. You're not supposed to see that. Chrome Special Edition variant. This is all unfinished, by the way, but this is kind of what it's going to look like. So that's and then let's go to our first topic. What should I play here to get us in the mood? What'll be our first topic? I'm playing the Amico deep dive video of Shark here that friends Thomas Tallarico and the engineer John Alvarado showed us. This will be our Ian,
This was my burden to bear.
yes, it was. So
We decided that this was my burden.
a lot of those out there don't know that the Intellivision Amico was to be a modern console that sold you games between $3 and $8 originally.
$2.99 to $7.99.
And it was going to be no multiplayer, all local couch
No
co-op.
online.
No online multiplayer, all couch co-op. And, you know, me and Ian, we'll just say we had some criticisms of it. We wished it luck, but we had some criticisms. And then,
Some of you.
and then a certain CEO publicly came after us and threatened to, you know, maybe do things behind the scenes about me, and then said debate me, and
Play your spine like an accordion.
yeah, and then like wanted to come over and invite us to for pasta and things of that nature. By the way, this console was announced 5 years ago at this very convention. It was. Tommy was the keynote speaker and used that opportunity to promote a console that took in $17 million with almost nothing to show for it, and built investors and pre-order folks who never got their pre-order deposits back. So one of our criticisms about these games was that, why are these games exclusives? Why can't you play these games, I don't know, release them on the Xbox, Nintendo Switch, Steam?
We had a really gentle suggestion early on.
Gentle. Maybe you can play these games on the platforms.
we don't jump whole dick into the swimming pool and release. That doesn't mean anything. I made those words up. Just right off the top of my head, I was like, that sounds good. Whole dick right in the swimming pool. So we suggested maybe we test the waters. And you just put some of these games out under the Intellivision name on like a Switch, the PC. That was impossible, Tommy said. You could not do it. These games could only be played with the space-age Intellivision Amico controller.
I believe I used Astrosmash as an example publicly on Twitter, and Tommy clapped back, "No, Pat, you don't," because he always put caps. "No, Pat, you don't understand. These can only be played on the Intellivision Amico." Well,
That's a lie.
years later,
Fast forward.
$17 million wasted, all the employees laid off. These games are sitting somewhere. Not just 1, 2, but 3 games from the same company that who now owns the rights, BBG Entertainment in Europe. 2 of them have come out, Shark and Astrosmash, with Dyna Blaster on the way soon.
Yeah.
So Intellivision sold the rights to this game, Shark, and Astrosmash, which are going to be packing games, I believe. One of them, at least, is going to be packing game. And there's physical products for both of these games, by the way, which of course does not give you access to playing these releases. Because
Which
why
they're
would
very careful about putting on the back of the box.
they're not physical games? So I purchased these games as a keepsake.
I thought they were given to you.
Some were given, I bought purchased the others. So me paying $20 each does not give me access to these games. But Ian went and purchased and played Shark.
Here's what happened. These came out, and the initial buzz, the rumblings, put your ear to the grapevine. They said that the game was 35 minutes long, had 12 levels, was functioning. These are $15. $15 is what they're charging for these.
$15!
That were originally supposed to be $2.99 to $7.99. Not quite $8. And I didn't want to spend the money on this. But then I remembered something very important, especially when we're talking about a 35-minute game. Steam lets you refund a game within 2 hours. So I strapped in.
Set your timer.
I lit one up, got myself a Diet Coke, and I set about the task of reviewing Shark. It's bad. So, how can I say it? The general vibe, just when you see it, before we get into gameplay,
They see it on the screen.
is it looks like one of those games that you would see in the background of a sitcom. One of those games that's not quite real, that someone is playing with a large controller that looks like an orb or something, because it took forever for TV to get video games even close to realistic. The art styles clash. You can see that they were going for a little bit of Finding Nemo with the clownfish, but then you see the shark, And the shark looks like it's ripped right out of Shark Tale. It's bad.
So nothing matches.
Nothing matches. There is, later on in the game, there is like a stork that comes down, like a stork face. And you know how in SpongeBob...
By the way, spoilers, anyone wants to purchase the place. Spoilers.
Yeah, you see it all. It has a breadth to offer you in 20 minutes. You know SpongeBob SquarePants where they cut in like the realistic stuff? That's what it looks like. It's just completely out of place. The controls of the game, the controls that were only
on an Amiga controller. Only.
It's just analog. So the nature of the game is you start as a small fish, and you have to eat the smaller fish until you get bigger, and then you eat the bigger fish. All while avoiding the titular shark.
There's a eel that went by.
You have to just eat enough fish to fill up a meter, and then you move on to the next level.
That's it.
There is, some scoring elements. You'll see 3 shells at the bottom, and they randomly open and have either an extra life pearl, a gold pearl, or a silver pearl, which is worth less. This was part of what Tommy said made the game only playable on... You see it right there. The time was perfect. On the screen, it was supposed to show you which shell was going to open next.
Based on the color on the controller.
Based on the color on the controller. While playing this masterpiece of a game, I realized that was a horrible, horrible idea. And actually would have made the game far, far worse.
Sure.
Because everyone would just be waiting around for this thing, and then they'd all rush towards it. There's no strategy involved. There's nothing that you can't... It would make it worse.
Camping the shells, basically.
Yeah, exactly. You just camp.
Shell camp.
Sounds so bad. The shark has pretty easy AI to trick, but it's very slow and boring. And basically what happens is, here's how the game goes. Little fish, eat. Now here's the shark. Do slow circles around the shark for about 30 seconds until the shark disappears. Eat some more. If you die, you become a small fish again.
Okay.
So what happens is it's really slow and boring, especially in one player. It may play slightly better in multiple players where the shark isn't just going...
Can't you nip the shark's tail and
You can nip the shark's tail, but it doesn't get rid of it. That would have been a game design decision that makes sense.
Nip it a few times.
Nip it and then it goes away so you can keep eating the fish. There are 3 themes. There's pirate, coral, and I can't remember the last one. Oh, this is what I was going to get to.
The ink on the screen?
And they just keep adding these little things. So it starts with the shark. Then you get an electric eel that'll come by. Then you'll get the stupid bird. And then you get these ink splotches, and that's about where I gave up on the game. I think it was around level 9 out of 12. Randomly, they just throw ink splotches at the screen. So
it's random. It's not even...
Oh, you're just playing the game. You're just playing the game, and boom, ink on the screen. Here's how we're going to make the game more fun and challenging. We're just going to take away your visibility every 5 to 15
I thought it was
seconds.
like an octopus or squid that did something. You're saying it just happens.
Maybe, but I think it just happens. And either way, that's how it affects the gameplay. There's nothing you can do to make
something fired something.
Right.
Was it from the background? What was that?
Yeah.
Okay.
But there's nothing you can do to make it stop.
Okay. It is an octopus, but it is random. Gotcha.
There is no skill involved. You are just punished constantly by this ink.
So they ran out of ideas by level 9, basically.
Yes. I did not beat the game. I'm sorry. I had seen enough. I had seen enough.
Not dedicated, man.
Well, here's the thing. You only have 2 hours, right? And I did not want to be stuck.
2 hours of gameplay time or 2 hours in real time?
2 hours of gameplay. 2 hours of gameplay time.
Okay.
When I refunded the game, I thought I had been playing for maybe an hour and 15 minutes. I had been playing for 19 minutes. 19.
Wow. So
19 minutes felt like an hour.
So you're saying you got your money's worth, maybe?
Oh, yeah, I did. Real bang for your buck. They really condensed the fun in.
So, Ian, would you recommend Shark? First of all, at $15, would you recommend it?
No, sir.
Would you recommend it at $10?
No, sir.
How about $7.99?
No, sir.
How about $4.99? No, $2.99? The minimum original? No.
No.
How does this compare to like Feeding Frenzy from like 15, 20 years ago?
I'm not good.
Has it been an improvement?
It doesn't look good.
So graphically, it's a mess.
Graphically, it's a mess. There's no animation when you eat the fish. They just disappear.
Are the controls at least decent?
They're slow. There's no dash button. A game like this needs a dash button. There's no mechanic. Like, you literally just...
No dash meter to get away from a shark real quicker? Wow. Okay.
Yeah. And it was clearly, I believe, tuned for multiplayer. I mean, I do believe that this was meant to be a multiplayer game. Just playing it solo sucks. When you die, you have to float around as a skeleton fish for like 5 to 10 seconds.
Really?
Because in multiplayer, that's supposed to be your punishment. You get eaten and you get turned into a ghost fish for a little bit so that you can't get points.
The other player get more points. Gotcha.
But they keep it in the single player mode. So not only do you die, but then you have to swim around as
punishment.
As skeleton boy.
And then eat away your 2 hours of steam time, basically. So here's the best part about Shark. And television entertainment didn't pay to develop this. This is one of the several games that was funded under that Bavarian Arts Entertainment German grant we talked about.
And that's
as were about 3 or 4 other games from like the original run, games like Moon Patrol. I think that's just mentioned, I'm not positive. Biplanes, skiing definitely was. So they get this game, German taxpayers pay for its development. They use it to get investors to pay in, who never see a return, and to get people to pre-order a console. And then they turn around and sell the rights to the game.
Yeah, they sold the rights to the game.
So they got all this money, and they didn't even pay to make this game, which was probably made by college kids. Right.
Well, so here's the interesting thing. The first thing I did before I even started playing the game was I had to check the credits. I had to see what names were in the credits. I had to see if Tommy Tallarico or someone was in the credits there. He was not. There's zero mention of Tommy Tallarico in the credits of Shark. The other thing that is interesting to me, it's just interesting, man, I don't know if it means anything, but this is a game that was paid for with German grants. And when you go through the credits, all the last names are suspiciously Russian.
So they hired then out the cheapest possible, probably that they could get, maybe.
Right. So I don't know. I mean, was it even developed in Germany?
International controversy here, international incident. So it's interesting how this was advertised. I think I have the page ready to go about how it was advertised. Oh, here it's advertised on Switch. Inspired by the original version, and then you scroll down, the original version. Let's focus on this last line here. You said Tommy was not mentioned anywhere in the game, but he's advertised. Superb sounds compiled and designed by famous game music composer Tommy Tallarico.
And this is like the classic wiggle words he uses because it's all stock music.
Tommy Tallarico has won over 35 industry awards, no fact check, and has worked on over 300 game titles, which we know is false at this point.
And so the compiled and what was it, designed?
He says superb sounds compiled and designed.
No, that was not composed because it's all stock music. It's all stock music. The words compiled, yet you downloaded it.
Yeah.
You designed it. You chose which levels to put it in. If that.
So just all the bare minimum effort on a game we didn't even pay to design to try to get people on board for investment and for, to get pre-order money.
Some real horse hockey.
Ian, thank you for, give it up for Ian for putting the time to do this. Okay, out of 10, what's your IGN score out of 10? Honestly. Based upon what it costs, the fun you had. Too much butter.
I mean, it functions. We'll give it a 2.
A 2. 2 out of 10. 3 out of 10.
I just feel like there's way more you can do with that $15.
Oh yeah, you can get a couple burritos and a drink. Yeah, absolutely.
Taco Bell.
Anything. You can probably find 3 or 4 good indie games for $15.
No, that's my exact point. I mean, there's better footy games, lots of better.
With more heart and soul, with probably people that came up with original ideas, not a retread of a 40-year-old game.
Have any of you seen Moonring? The game that just came out on Steam. It's made by one of the ex-developers of Fable. It's like an Ultima type game. It's 100% free and it's huge. And it's just a labor of love. And the guy did not charge anything for it.
And this was not a labor of love.
No, this was not a labor of love. Someone shit in a bag and called it a game.
All right, this is a PG-13.
It's not. It never has been and never will be.
All right, Ian, we are here at Portland Retro Gaming Expo. And T-Pop, interesting that we had a few years off between 2019 and came back in 2022. A lot happened in the game collecting community in that time, including, where are we going here? Astro Smash, Shark. This is a lot of things, so we're talking about a lot. Wada Games. We're going to talk about Wada Games. I don't have a logo here. Before we get into the topic, Wada is here. Please don't bother them. Don't harass them. Those are employees that have nothing to do with what we're going to talk about. They're just employees.
University.
Yes, they're the parent company. So Wada Games, as we know, was founded around late 17, early 18, and there's been shenanigans that have happened since then. There's been tomfoolery, there's been allegations of some really weird things happening, weird relationships between the founders, knowing Jim Halperin, who runs Heritage Auctions, and having an exclusive deal to only auction off those games and not VGA graded games, all weird stuff. We've gone through it over the years. Carl Jones did a great video expose about it a couple years ago. It all came to crescendo in July of 2021, when for some reason a sealed Mario 64 sold for $1.5 million. Right after that, Collectors Universe bought Wada Games, and then all hell broke loose because people were wondering what's going on. Fast forward, a class action lawsuit, a federal class action lawsuit was filed on behalf of people that use Wada to grade their games. That was, I think, July of last year. And now we have an update, Robert Stack update on the class action lawsuit. There are certain things we can share with you about the lawsuit and what's happening.
Many things have come to light. There's a lot of facets, a lot of ins,
A lot of ins, a lot of outs. So what happened earlier in the summer was important. The defense, which is Collectors Universe / Wada Games, they filed a motion to dismiss at least some of the claims. So what are the claims going on in this lawsuit? There's contract, which is pretty much cut and dry. The contract claims are, well, you claimed on your website and all the dealings that if customers and clients pay to get your games graded, they get them back in the time that you advertise, whether it was a month, 2 months, 3 months. The problem was they were such a backlog that some folks didn't get the games back for well over a year, or couldn't find out where their games were at. So obviously that's problematic because you're taking people's money and providing a service, but then a lot of people got this stuff graded to try to cash it on the market, probably, to get in early and get their stuff graded and put up for sale.
No offense, but I mean, you'll see evidence of that as you walk around the floor. There's a lot of people with graded games that don't seem to be moving.
So that was the other half. The other half that we reported in the past is the juicier stuff, some of the stuff we have talked about, some of the alleged stuff. The other part is fraud and RICO.
RICO.
So Ian, do you know what RICO is? I can explain that.
Go for it. I know what it is, but you can...
Okay, I don't know as much as you, that's why I asked you. So RICO is racketeering something criminal organization, correct?
Mm-hmm.
What's the second, what's the I?
That I don't remember.
Okay.
I know it is RICO.
Okay.
Not on a first name basis.
So more easier, what is racketeering? Racketeering is the formation or use of a company to commit fraud.
Yes.
That is racketeering. That's why you always hear the mob would get digging for racketeering, because maybe they would, create an olive oil company like in The Godfather, or a construction company that made millions of dollars where they shouldn't have. Fronts. So that's the other portion of the lawsuit. So when Ian and I first discussed this, we were like, well, the contract stuff is pretty cut and dry. That's going to go forward. And we were like, RICO and racketeering, probably not.
RICO is really difficult to make stick.
Sure.
I mean, it's kind of a joke when people say, oh, is this the RICO? We're going to finally get the RICO. No, because you never do.
Because you have to prove intent, and besides all these relationships that are together. So what happened was, Collectors Universe filed a motion to dismiss for everything, which is common in civil lawsuits. The judge, though, allowed everything to move forward, not just the contract claims, but but Rico and Racketeer.
And that's really unexpected. I
Which
did not in a
means-
million years think that was going to happen.
Which means the judge at that point, from what he had seen and through discovery and I guess depositions, thinks there's something to it.
And me as a clerical law worker, and that's almost a lawyer.
I think you revealed that publicly before.
No, I haven't. Yeah, no, I mean, I have a fine-tuned sense of this,
Uh-huh.
and I think they're going to get taken to the cleaners.
Well, we have some, okay, RICO is Racketeer Influence and Corrupt Organizations Act. Influence.
Influence.
That's what RICO means. So, I just had it open, I just lost it, my Google Docs. So this is what's gonna happen. In December, by December 11th, this is all procedural stuff, this is all public. By December 11th, the motion for summary judgment that the defense will file, that will be given to the judge, who probably would say, no, this is gonna move forward. And the class certification for the prosecution has to be put in. What is class certification? You probably know that better than me.
I do know summary judgment, though.
Okay.
Summary judgment is basically what someone will ask for to eliminate the steps that go forward in terms of discovery and things like that.
Sure.
So it's an easy way out to just be like, please just make a ruling on this case without it going to not necessarily a court, but mediation or things like that. So it gets it all the way quicker.
Sure. And obviously you'd want them to file, the defense be like, okay, this is nothing, throw it out. That's why you want to file that.
Right.
So class certification. So this is, class action means you have a class of people. You're all together in one group, which makes it easier for plaintiffs to sue because they don't have to hire a lawyer and go after you. That's why obviously a big organization does not want a class to be certified because individuals do not have the money to sue a big multi-million-dollar corporation. So the class certification happening is super important, that they all sit together and can have one law firm represent them. That's very important. So what is going to go forward, though? Or what at this point? Consumer protection claims, unfair competition laws, which means, that'll probably, I'm guessing at some of this, that probably means that it was probably unfair that like Heritage Auctions only had an agreement, a monopoly with Wada Games. That seems unnatural, that seems unfair, that you're basically promoting each other, because remember, the founder of Heritage Auctions, Jim Halpern, was also a founding board member of Wada Games. That was public for a while.
And we've already been in trouble for coins in the past.
Yeah, the feds dinged him for weird practices in the 80s when it came to coins. So that's happening, like we said before. So fraud is going forward, and then non-disclosure claim, which we're not sure about, and contract claims. That's all moving forward with WADA. What came out also, this is public, this was found, Jim Halpern, who we just mentioned, he has a charity set up, which happens, people set up 501c3s, some rich people do it. It was found out that after the Collectors Universe sale went through, money was put into the Jim and Gail Halpern Foundation. They're 501c3. I think it was between, I believe, around $250,000 was put into their 501c, because all the tax returns and 501c3s are public. You can all look them up right now. So, it's not necessarily they were trying to hide the sale, but it's still strange to do that.
Divest the funds of it.
Divest the funds of it. So Jim was paid out because he was a founding member of Wada Games. It was also coming out that in the fall of 2021, Heritage Auctions was upset at Wada for not being able to supply a sufficient amount of product for their auctions. That's how close-knit the relationship was. Going backward, hey, well, you're going to have a certain amount of games for us. What do we have to expect this? So they were on apparently...
Like a jilted lover, big sad about the lack of attention.
So they're apparently on some sort of schedule tightly knit between these two organizations.
Yes, they were clearly working hand in hand
Yes.
beyond just what was on the face.
So that's another big one. Dennis Kahn, who was the president of Wada Games, sometime after the sale to Collectors Universe, we probably found out what is going on. Maybe we bought into something that maybe on its surface wasn't what we think it was. He has been demoted and shuffled to the side. I think it's like special acquisitions or special interests. So it would look terrible if Collectors Universe bought Wada Games and then fired the president. They can't do that, especially with a class action lawsuit.
Right.
But you're going to step down and we'll keep you on the payroll and just sit in the corner and do nothing. Dennis Kahn has already been deposed in this lawsuit. He's already been grilled. And we'll see what comes out of that, because eventually that information becomes public.
A lot of stuff.
And hopefully the video will as well.
Oh, the video? I don't know about that, so that'll be fun.
So Dennis was shuffled away. And this is an interesting thing that we never really touched upon. Where, did anybody in the audience know where the name WADA comes from for WADA Games?
Now we do.
We have one or two people. We never commented on this, and
It always rubbed me the wrong
and
way.
they took it off their website.
No.
Yes.
What's in the name? The inspiration for our name,
Yep.
WADA,
And
comes
they
from
took
Bruce
this
Lee.
off their website because they knew it was a bad look, but they kept the name.
Yeah. Be like water,
Yes.
making its way through cracks. Be water, my friend. This is a famous thing. He said this on one of his guest appearances in the early 70s. Also did an interview on YouTube. So their name comes from, I think it's Cantonese, a Cantonese accent. So they
Couldn't
speak
just
English.
say water. They decided they had to try to mimic the accent of Bruce Lee.
It's just not cool to do that at all. And I think I forgot about it, to be honest. I think I honestly forgot about that. Because it's just like not something you would want to do.
No.
Like, why would you want to do that? Even if your intentions were good, it's just weird and insensitive to do that. So, but you know what's interesting, Ian? While I was going on the way back to Chicken and seeing that, I looked down on the board of directors that used to be on the website. And I found something very interesting here, which goes back to maybe something that we can guess about maybe something in the future. For collectors, by collectors, sure. The executive team, there's good old Dennis here. There's Mark Haskell, the individual that I witnessed buying games at Too Many Games 2019. I brought it up in the log, in the Carl Joseph's video. Something they said would never happen, by the way.
Oh, yeah. No.
But he was buying and selling games. He sold a bunch of games to Seth Averson, the report on this. I scroll down. There's little Dennis Kahn. There's some folks. There's good old Jim Halperin.
Yeah.
Who's this individual, you might ask? Dan Maresca. Dan Maresca was a big sealed game collector. I used to argue with Dan Maresca. His online moniker is Bronte.
You argue with someone?
On a forum on Nintendo Age. My favorite website even. I used to argue with Dan a lot about, because he was a big game collector. He was down to only one or two he needed. This is like 2010, 2009, 2011. We used to get into arguments a lot of times. So the reason I bring up this individual and spotlight them is because, do you remember, Ian, what kicked off way back in early 2019? What kicked off? What sale kicked all this off? For like, wow, this is the new high mark of any video game selling.
Mario, 100,000.
The $100,000 NES, I think it was the second printing, gloss sticker, Super Mario Brothers.
Bring it all home, Pat.
And at the time, it was unknown who the seller was.
Oh, not anymore.
Guess who was the seller of the Super Mario Brothers that sold the game to this individual? Where's Jim? Where's Jim?
Passed him.
I passed him. This individual sold the game, one of the buyers, to someone who helped found WADA Games and was the founder of Heritage Auctions. It was this fellow who owned the Super Mario Brothers.
Inside business.
Why do you think they never wanted to publicize who sold the games? Or who sold the game? Because they would look skeezy, unethical, and maybe, in my opinion, fraudulent.
This is a totally natural sale.
If this was known,
There's nothing to see here.
we didn't know this back then. Carl Joseph didn't know this when he did his big expose video a couple years ago. Do you think this would have got people talking? Do you see how these relationships, there might be something going on here?
Yeah.
And then that sale, remember, then through Richard Lecce, who was one of the three individuals we knew at the time that purchased it, which maybe something else was going on, we'll see. That was the one that went on Pawn Stars later in 2019. So it went from the most expensive game before that, I believe, was a Seal Stadium Events around $35,000. Then they jump it up. They, in my opinion, manufacture a sale for PR reasons, which got out. All these websites did articles. People on YouTube are doing videos about this new sale. The new high, they went from 35,000 to 100,000 to later in the year. Oh, I think it's worth $1 million, maybe. That's what I want on Pawn Stars. And Dennis Kahn then says this, in articles and on the show, well, the sky's the limit with these games. This all happened in less than a year. $35,000, the most expensive game, to might be $1 million, might be $700,000. All, in my opinion, manufactured. Here's the thing about civil lawsuits, Ian. When you do discovery, what happens?
I mean, everything comes out.
You can get records of email communications, you can get...
That's what I do. Discovery is very, very interesting. You literally get everything. They just drop proverbial at this point, but boxes and boxes and boxes of documents. You don't ever want to go
through Discovery.
Through Discovery unless you are 100% fucking sure you are squeaky clean.
So here's the thing. I can't say for sure, but we have misrepresentation as one of the claims going forward. We have fraud. We have all these things that I'm not saying it's going to come out in Discovery, but what if in Discovery some of this information comes out between, hey, what were these people saying to each other? What agreement did they have? When did they have the agreements? Between Dan Maresca, between Jim Halperin, Richard Lecce, and Dennis Kahn, and any other buyers that were there. Because they put out a press release saying there were 3 buyers, and it was all legit. And look,
they'll get that. They'll get that. I mean, one of the main things you get these days is electronic communication. You will get literally every email.
So if it comes out, I'm not saying it will, but if it comes out, there were shenanigans going on, we will learn then potentially that the spark that lit this fuse of this speculative, in my opinion, bullshit graded game bubble was all built on a fraudulent purchase back in 2019 with a $100,000 sale.
There you go.
Can't say it for sure, but it looks weird. Tell me when I'm telling lies.
All right, how's everyone doing?
How's everyone doing? We have about 7, 8, 9 minutes for Q&A. About anything we're up to, about if you should, wash your rice before you boil it. You should. Future N64 books, whatever. Yes, sir, the beard.
Is this what we call investing in television?
Investing in television? Is there anyone here that did not get that joke when they watched that video? Sure. Thank you.
Is there going to be another episode at all of Petty Pat?
Another episode of Petty Pat? I don't know. People have come out and done smear videos trying to attack me. It's almost like I don't want to give them too much, credit or too much shine.
I just don't sit around in the poison, man. It's not worth it.
I think the people that I took out were worth taking out. One of them had been a long time coming. I didn't understand the in-television joke that Frank said. So we'll see. Did you enjoy Petty Pat?
Yeah, I loved it.
You loved the jingle? I'm good at jingles.
Ian,
right behind you.
Ian,
What's up?
last meal, next meal.
Okay, so
What do you ask?
last meal, next meal. Last meal was Thai food. I ordered it late last night. I did not do well at eating. I wish I could remember where it was from. I got santan, which is the spicy green papaya salad. I got it as hot as I possibly could, and it makes me happy every time. It's cold, it's sweet, it's tangy, it burns your face. It's incredible. I also got chicken satay, and I got one of the all-time greats in terms of food, crab meat rangoon. Next meal, I'm going to a place called Slow Bar, and I think I'm going to have steak frites. Oh,
Yes, in the hat.
So I was wondering, after you publish the N64 guide, if you were going to continue on with other consoles, because as you know, N64 gets a lot more complicated past as they keep going on. Are you going to be do you see yourself in 7 years doing Wii U?
Ian, for my mental health and my life.
I'm not letting Pat do another book ever again. Because I can't take it. He's done.
That's fair.
Yes.
Quick tale from the GameCon. Last night I overheard someone at dinner telling his friend about the Poly Mega. He thinks it's the best thing ever, but he couldn't remember the name. And so he took out his phone.
That's actually funny.
He took out his phone and he asked his phone, what do all retro gamers want? He scrolled a little bit and he said, oh, polyamory. That's what it is. So my question is this. You're releasing a console called the Polyamory. What 3 games do you put on it?
We like your vibe. That's one. At the end of the bar, yeah, I don't know. Pineapples is something else that's swinging too.
Dig into the pool.
In the pool, yeah. You on the end.
So when Ace Bomber Guys, Tommy Tallarico video came out and blew up, as someone who had been sort of following it really closely through you guys for 5 years, it was really trippy seeing sort of less nerdy people become aware of
Sure.
Yeah, a wider audience for sure. Yeah, it's interesting.
The HBO Bomber Guy stuff was interesting because I think he was aware of our stuff. He was in our chat when we premiered our response to that video. And so it was nice to see someone with a much bigger reach, like Carl Jobs, the same thing, with a lot of, it's not that it's recognition, but the message has to get out there whatever way. And it was great to see that. And he was too nice on him, knowing that we know now that it's come out that Tommy did almost none of the soundtracks he took credit for. Before, he should have kept his mouth shut, because then people would be like, oh, he worked on Earthworm Jim at least, and Terminator, Sega CD. They'd be like, no, he didn't really do that stuff either. Other people did some of that work, and it was like, oh, it gets worse and worse and worse.
According to the nice lady in the back, I think we have time for 2 more.
We got 3 minutes left. Yes?
So with this Wada Games thing, what do you think that's going to do to the speculation market as far as purchasing games going forward?
The bubble's already burst. We covered the podcast. So there's some games that have lost hundreds of thousands of dollars. The Tecmo Bowl we covered a couple months ago on one of our specials went from $144 to $5,000 in a year and a half.
And like I said, those games are all over the floor right now, and I've seen no one picking them up or interested in them at all. Someone had a NBA Jam TE 9.8 for Sega Genesis, and it's I am so sorry you're saddled with that, but you're never getting rid of it.
The person that harassed me last year while I was setting up my booth, I don't think they're probably here this year. They were a big speculative buyer and said, you're wrong, it's just a correction in the market. They probably lost $300,000, $400,000, $500,000 probably in this market. If I had to guess, I might be low.
The only reason people get this angry about stuff is because they're losing money and they're trying to pretend they're not losing money.
Good time for a couple more questions, I think. Yes, all in back there.
Do you guys still receive any voicemails from Tommy Tallarico?
We do not receive voicemails from Tommy Tallarico. In the hat back there.
For Ian, could you recommend 2 affordable top-down shmups for the Saturn?
2 affordable Saturn top sets.
Affordable? No, I'm sorry. I don't think I can, and I mean that realistically. That's more my wife's venue. She loves the Saturn, and I wish I could give you an answer because I love that question, but I just don't think they're really... I mean, at this point, Radiant Silvergun is probably affordable compared to most of them, and that's a fun one. I feel like that game's always $200, and at this point, a Saturn game that's only $200 that you want to play, you might as well go for it.
Oh, I want to do more. Yes.
Hey, maybe this would be more towards Ian, but is there a possibility of a Game Boy guidebook?
So, there will not be a Game Boy guidebook. However, I do... my friend Rick and I kind of do a Game Boy of the Month thing, Game Boy Game of the Month thing called Yo-Boy Kids. We've been doing it for many years.
Yeah.
We did a Volume 1 zine, which I feel like zine's kind of a silly name because it was thick. We did that, and it was for charity.
Okay.
And we're working on a Volume 2 now.
Okay. Is that on a website? Is that on the Ultimate?
No, we'll announce it when we do it.
Okay.
We're in production of it right now. We're getting the articles and the art and everything together. We're pretty close.
One last question. Yes, in the Tri-Force shirt, is our level shirt.
No, this is...
Yeah.
So would you consider ever doing another book, video game or not console related?
Well, I want to do something in the future. I'd rather do fiction. Nonfiction is hell. Because nonfiction, I guess the whole game is try to screw up as little as possible in nonfiction because it's facts. And it's just it's a little bit too much for me anymore to try to deal with, and I try to do the best I can. That's why these books take years to do. I don't just shit them out, as Ian would say, in a bag.
Shit them in a bag.
So that's why this might be the last one. I might do a second revision or a second edition of the NES book, because that's going to sell out again, the third printing, so I might clean that up, but
I'll let you do second, like,
You like
revisions.
that?
I'll let you do revisions,
But
and then
no
you get right into romance, all right?
romance novels, all right. And this romance will continue maybe for a little longer. Thanks, everyone, for coming out to the Portland Retro Expo. We'll be back at our booth, booth 182. With the booth, the first row, first column. Thank you.
Please don't forget to like and subscribe, and to the right are a few more videos from the Portland Retro Gaming Expo 2023. Thanks for watching.